Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out. Shane, I feel like a rite of passage for any boxing reporter is to come to the McGuigan gym, interview you, and give you a good interview as well. So Shane, hopefully I'm here to do that. How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you, mate. Yeah, so first media day of 2023, so it's exciting.
Exciting indeed. Let's start off with Azim, who's really got that promotional push. I read the interviews, the stories on him about having ADHD and dealing with that. I wonder, because of that, is there had to be any level of adaptation to his training to manage that at all?
No, I feel once he's in training, he's focused. So, but yeah, that's why he started boxing. It's one of the reasons he's had all this pent-up energy that he needs to learn how to release it. Still got it, if like done his session and he's lingering around, he's still like shadow boxing in the corner. But it's great. It's what's probably one of the reasons he's so successful.
Is he one of those who does maybe too much in the gym?
No, he knows how to rein it in. I used to work with Josh Taylor, who used to try and overdo it all the time. He's aware that like he'll push it on the runs, he'll push it in the sessions and stuff like that, and he'll always spar. But when I say, right, you're done now, he'll take his gloves off. So that's it's a good thing. Being someone that wants to overtrain is actually a good thing because you're striving for more, you're striving to be better. So, and he has definitely that element.
He's a 7-0 fighter looking for his 8th win. But besides the promotion that tells us he's a great fighter, can you tell me what level is he at right now?
I know what level he's at. Like, he's a special fighter. Like, it's just. We're not gonna let him showcase his level until he needs to. That's not to say we're gonna starve the public of Adam Azim. We're gonna keep pushing him on. We're gonna push him. Hopefully he'll box. He's gonna box 5 times this year. Hopefully he holds up injury free. So they're gonna be seeing a lot of him. And by the end of it, I want him to be holding him. A major title in a sense, like maybe a European title, and fighting former European champions or even former world champions, so we can go into 2024 with a lot of experience, rounds under his belt, and highly ranked.
Now, Santos Reyes, who comes in undefeated, not being stopped, those are the buzzwords for the promotion of the fight there. But in terms of yourself, what are you looking to see from Adam on February 11th?
A disciplined performance. I feel like Ryland Chant was a disciplined performance. Adam, when he stopped guys before, when he dropped Conor Marsden or hurt them, he jumps on them and he just gets a bit ragged. Like whereas with Ryland, he was much more measured. That's actually his ADHD sometimes coming through. You know what I mean? And so we have to just calm it, keep it chilled, and pick the right shots and do it in style. So that's what I want to see. This guy's from Nicaragua. They're always tough. They always come to have a fight, and he doesn't know how to lose, Santos Reyes. So that's could we have picked someone from America, someone that's been beaten and stopped before, that has a slightly bigger name? Definitely, of course we could have. But those, as soon as they get hit, those guys normally they kind of realise, okay, this is not for me. Like I just don't want to be here. I'm just going to pick up my paycheck and go. Whereas this guy's unbeaten, 12-0. So hopefully, he can box a little bit and he can fight a little bit. So hopefully we get some experience.
Moving on to his brother, now the distinction's been made that Hassan maybe needs a bit more grounding, a bit more foundation before he's kind of put up in a big step up. But how far away is he from getting that ground and getting those challenges?
Yeah, look, he's still boxing 6-rounders. We'll probably have one more and then we'll go to 8s after this. He's done 2 6-rounders on the spin, and they've both gone the distance. The guy that he's boxing's got quite a few losses, but he's also got quite a few knockouts out of his wins. He's knocked about 80% of them out. So that means that has to be super switched on. He's got a habit of losing concentration because he's hitting guys and he's not really getting a response. It's really hard with these journeymen because they know how to survive, they know how to get through rounds, but they can switch the prospect off because the prospect, there's nothing really coming back here. It's just like a routine fight. And then whoop, one comes over the top and you're like, that was annoying. And then it muffles your performance. You just get away from it thinking, didn't really perform there. I was looking so good in sparring. So he's developing all the time. He's looking great in sparring. He's sparring guys that are unbeaten as well. So they're they're all bringing each other on, and he's doing really, really good in sparring. It's just he has to box guys that are coming to win. That's when you're going to see the best Hassan. But it's also a measuring act to say, okay, well, we don't want to jump in against someone that is a step too far, or even unnecessary step too far. So we'll hopefully go 8 rounders after this one, keep him active, and it's hard to say what level of title we'll be boxing for, but I want him to fight for a title before the end of this year.
Moving on to Caroline, just overhearing a couple of interviews, you're saying that Caroline's opponent has pulled out. There's a new opponent in place.
Yeah, there's another opponent that's an unbeaten girl, announced soon. Hopefully, I thought we were going to get announced today before the presser, but logistically, I think they've got to work on securing it, visas and all of that sort of stuff, and obviously it's short notice as well. So, but she's unbeaten, higher ranked than her last opponent, and that's what we want. So, yeah, we had an option of boxing a girl from Africa. We've beaten a few times, quite durable, but it's like you're not going to really learn anything from that. And we've been there, done it. We need to box someone that actually comes to win, and this girl certainly will. So I'm excited, and she is as well. So it's her first step up to 8 rounders as well.
Okay, can I get some updates from you, Daniel Dubois? What's the latest on his road to recovery?
His road to recovery is doing good. Yeah, he's mandatory for Usyk, and whether Usyk will box Fury or not, I'm not too sure. But if not, Daniel's in line.
Anthony Fowler, we haven't seen him for a while. What's the latest with Anthony?
Anthony's got to answer that himself. I said, we had a discussion, and I think it was the best thing for him. He's been boxing since he was about 11 years of age, maybe 9. 230 amateur fights. I don't know how many pro fights, but obviously he lost to Liam Smith. Put up a good performance in my opinion, but he just faded. He faded after he got a lot of success early. And then he had his comeback fight, and then after that it's been in the gym a long time. I said, look, go up the road. Your little daughter was on the way. She's since been born, and he's just enjoying time off. To be honest, will we see him again? I'm not too sure. We might, you know what I mean. But it's one for Anthony to answer.
Ellie Scotney and Robbie Davis Jr.
Ellie Scotney's boxing, not Shanika Johnson. Shanika Johnson's asked for an extension, so she's boxing for an interim title in the meantime, and that should be announced soon. And Robbie Davies Jr. is looking to get out on the Liverpool card against a pretty good opponent in Liam Parrow, still subject to confirmation, but hopefully we can get that over the line. And yeah, he's in training, he's looking good. He's been British, Commonwealth, European champion. He doesn't want to go back to that level. He hasn't got a very good high rank in the governing bodies with the WBO, WBC, IBF and WBA. But if he beats someone of Liam Parrow's stature, he will. And it's a big ask. Parrow is explosive. He's a southpaw as well. He's got good looping backhand. So hopefully, but he's had some off nights. So hopefully we can switch him off. We can get the right tactics, get the right game plan, and manage the rounds and put up a good performance and win. I believe he's definitely capable of it.
My colleague Danny Flexen did an interview with Lawrence Okolie. He said he's now not training with yourself. He's over in Dubai. Nothing sensational, nothing to report in terms of any tension between the two of you, but just your side of the story.
Yeah, look, there's no hard feelings between me and Lawrence. Disappointing, that we couldn't figure things out, but it's more just logistics, he's pretty sure he's given up UK residency to go and live in Dubai, and that for me is it's tough. I've got a nearly 5-month-old baby. I've got Adam, Hassan, Caroline, Daniel, Ellie Scotney, Chris Billam Smith, Robbie Davis and Anthony Fowler. Robbie Fowler, he's back. He's making his boxing debut. So yeah, for me, obviously I can't take. He can only do a certain amount of days in the UK. He wanted to continue to work with me. Obviously, I wanted to continue to work with him, but logistically, it wasn't going to work out. So as I said, look, we left it on good terms. Heard he's out working with SugarHill at the moment. So I hope he goes and gets himself someone that's an established coach, because at the top level you can't do it on your own. You might be able to do it on your own when you are better than people in certain fights, like David Light, for instance, he's better than David Light. He's going to beat him. He'll knock him out in 3 or 4 rounds, no matter who's in his corner. But it's when you're in the acid test, and also when you go up to heavyweight. So that's. But yeah, I mean, like, you never know. We might see him back in the gym, but for now, no.
Yeah, just going a bit more into that, Lawrence said as much as that he might be training himself for this fight with David Light, which boxing fans will scrutinise that, considering the likes of Chris Eubank Jr. have tried that path.
He's not that person. Lawrence he's not that way inclined. He knows that he needs someone to look after him, and he's trialling a few people.
Do you feel that potentially because you've got Chris Billam-Smith and Daniel Dubois, 2 potential opponents down the line for Lawrence Okolie, that might have played a factor, or is it just logistics?
It's logistics, genuine. I think it's logistics. He's got 1 or 2 people around him that I'm not too fond of, but that's that really. I mean, it's would have always been the ability to work together, but I don't think Chris and him will box. I wouldn't want to necessarily be a part of that, just because sentimentally I've put a lot of time into both of them, and I don't really feel like there's Riakpo out there that they can both box Riakpo, or there's other people out there that they can both box. But and Daniel as well. I don't think Lawrence has got much interest in fighting Daniel. So.
Was Lawrence about as well-rounded a fighter as he will be with you, or was there more to kind of come from Lawrence, you feel?
Yeah, there was more to develop, but you've got to be willing to develop it. And look, we were on the same page, like, with stylistically the way he should fight. He had a couple of great performances. The way he boxed against Slovakia was brilliant. He'd done his knee in that fight against Mikael Sislak. And that, after a few rounds, he twisted his knee, and it was a big problem in the change rooms afterwards. It was seizing up because of the adrenaline was keeping it going. But you could see, like, after a few rounds, things weren't right, and he reverted back to a little bit of his old ways. But in the gym, he's one of the most talented people. He's probably one of the best sparrers I've seen. Do you know what I mean? At maintaining distance and stuff. But he still has to transfer it over, and that's genuinely down to his experience. Like, he didn't have that many amateur fights. He still hasn't had that many pro fights. All the pro fights he's had have been at a top level, where he's been, like, under the magnifying glass. He has to win. He has to perform. And a lot of the time he's gone, I just need to do anything to win. And he's won ugly sometimes. But, that's what I'm saying. He's capable of a lot more. And he has to pick the right opponents to make him look good. Because sometimes guys that try and maul him and shorten the range, like, he just gets suckered into that. But that's why you need good people like that are managing and looking after you and guiding your career opponent-wise, and not just looking out for you financially, like, or looking, and making it a business. It's much more to boxing than being a business. It's passion and boxing intellect.
Moving on to maybe the crossover scene. You don't have Robbie Fowler in the gym, but you did have Tommy Fury at one stage, who's now fighting Jake Paul. Was there an invitation to maybe train Tommy Fury for this time round? No,
look, I was called in because with Tommy it was his dad and his brother couldn't go to America. So when that fight was on short notice going to America, look, me and Tommy got on well. He was on the Tyrone Woodley undercard, so was Daniel Dubois on the undercard of that. So he rang me up and he said, like, look, would you work my corner? I said, look, come down. Let's have a week together. And he came down, and I feel like he had a good jab, he had good feet, and that really is enough for him to beat Jake Paul. In my eyes, a guy that's explosive, throws a good right hook over the top, but really leaves his feet behind him. He's not programmed to punch properly, like, reasonably fast hands, and it's all like in rotation, but he doesn't move his feet and track and punch. It's just he's boxing guys that are static and standing there, So I think if he sticks to the jab, gets himself moving, doesn't trade up with him, just busts him up in the jab for 3 or 4 rounds, then should beat him.
What's the level of disparity between the two in terms of boxing ability?
Well, understanding of boxing you've got to say that Tommy Fury knows a lot more about boxing than Jake Paul, because he understands it. He's been around it. He knows he's seen it firsthand, what you have to do to win world title fights, and how you have to spar, and how you have to go through these training camps, and not just setting a ring up in your house and eating cereal or whatever, and then going and doing a little session, and then going out and making a YouTube video and going back doing another little session. Like, that's not how world champions train. At least he's been around a gym that knows what you need to do to win these fights. Jake Paul's a good athlete, and he's getting success through his athletic prowess, but not necessarily through his boxing technical ability. So it does lie in Tommy's favour.
Final thing I want to touch on, Anthony Joshua's coming back. Jermaine Franklin is the perceived opponent, waiting on an announcement. A good comeback fight in your eyes for Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, Franklin's a tough guy. He's been in the gym with Daniel, but really, when you put your combinations together, he starts to go. And Dylan was not putting his combinations together against him. I don't think that fight. It's a good opponent to make Joshua look good. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to get back out there, get back to his winning ways, get back to knocking people out. And that, Franklin's just gone 10 or 12 rounds. I think it's 12 rounds with Dylan White. So if he does him in 3 or 4 rounds, maybe 5 rounds, it's perfect. That's literally just exactly exactly what Eddie and DAZN and everyone will want. So see you later, Chris. I think it's a good opponent.
Shane, I took too much of your time already. Appreciate speaking to you. Thanks so much for getting Seconds Out. Cheers. Appreciate it, sir.